Some European countries continue to export to Russia via third countries in Central Asia to circumvent the sanctions. For example, Germany's automobile exports to Kyrgyzstan increased by around 31,000%. Since February 2022, when Russia began its invasion of Ukraine, we have witnessed the beginning of a campaign of moral and material support for Ukraine by Western countries. According to these countries, the Ukrainian people should not become victims of Russia's aggressive policy. In addition, it was emphasized that companies, both state and private, should withdraw from Russia and never do business with this country. Indeed, many companies have complied with this rule, with the aim of inflicting economic damage on Russia. The sanctions have been strong and corrosive in areas such as energy, finance, and technology. As a result, Russia really began to worry economically, and many of its citizens left the country and started to emigrate to other countries. Today, Russia has decided to compensate for this loss by making it much easier for citizens of Kazakhstan, Belarus, and Moldova to obtain Russian citizenship. According to this decision, one does not need to know Russian history and laws to become a Russian citizen. It should be mentioned that the naturalized Russian citizens face the same obligations as native-born Russians when it comes to military service and potential mobilization. This means they are legally required to participate in any armed conflicts the country engages in, including the ongoing war in Ukraine. This policy has come under increased scrutiny recently, with Alexander Bastrykhin, the head of Russia's investigative committee, proposing in November 2023 to revoke citizenship from naturalized immigrants who refuse to fight. This controversial proposal has raised concerns about potential discrimination and the erosion of basic citizenship rights for those who have chosen to become Russian citizens. This process, which was pursued seriously in the first months of the invasion, soon evolved into a view of Ukraine as a buffer zone between Europe and Russia. Some European countries, which had previously loudly and uncompromisingly expressed their support for Ukraine, have since adopted a more security-oriented and Eurocentric view, putting the problems of the Ukrainian people on the back burner. Even the initial seriousness about accepting Ukrainian refugees has gradually faded. We are now in what can be called the third phase, a period in which the willingness of many European countries to continue trading with Russia has become clear. Today, major European countries continue their economic cooperation with Russia by indirectly circumventing the sanctions and taking advantage of the vacated market. To this end, they continue their export activities to Russia by finding partners in the Caucasus and Central Asia. According to data shared by Robin Brooks, chief economist at the Institute of International Finance, many Central Asian and Caucasus countries, Kyrgyzstan in particular, are acting as skids for Europe to maintain its economic relationship with Russia. According to his report, in 2023, German exports of cars and auto parts increased by 5,500% to Kyrgyzstan, 720% to Kazakhstan, 450% to Armenia, and 340% to Georgia. According to the 2021 to 2023 outlook, Germany's automobile exports to Kyrgyzstan increased by around 31,000%. Similarly, in 2023, Swedish exports to Kazakhstan increased by 140% and to Kyrgyzstan and Turkmenistan by 200%. It is possible to multiply these examples with other European countries. Out of the €531 million worth of goods that Germany exported to Kyrgyzstan during this period, approximately €228 million, or 43%, comprised vehicles. In the case of Germany's €2.37 billion exports to Kazakhstan, €227 million, roughly 10% of the total, constituted cars. This marked a substantial increase of 1,300% compared to the same period in the previous year. Tajikistan and Uzbekistan represented small proportions of the overall exports, and data for car exports to Turkmenistan was incomplete. Germany appears to have more than compensated for any losses resulting from cutting off exports to Russia by redirecting its exports to Central Asian countries. While Germany's car exports to Russia decreased by €459 million, dropping from €617 million in 2021 to €158 million in 2023, The increase in car exports to just 4 of the Central Asian countries amounted to over 500 million euros. In September 2023, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz hosted Central Asian leaders and announced the creation of a new Central Asia concept. The sudden interest of Germany in Central Asia had been questioned by certain circles. Nevertheless, Katharina Klaus-Mühlhauser, the president of the German Eastern Business Association, stated that the European Union should show more closeness to this region and called for a calmer approach regarding Russia's circumvention of sanctions through the countries in the region. These initiatives are also helping the regional countries to increase their trade volume with Russia. For example, Kazakhstan companies exported around €550 million worth of electronic equipment to Russia, 18 times more than in the same period in 2021. This includes not only European exports to Central Asia, but also imports. Belarus also plays an important role in this process. In July 2023, Kyrgyzstan refuted allegations of re-exporting sanctioned goods to Russia. Prime Minister Akalbek Zaparov stated to the press that measures will be taken in the future so that sanctioned goods do not cross our border and, moreover, do not go where there are sanctions. Our results should not be read as indicating an obvious violation of export controls, as we only look at aggregate-level export data, which do not shed light on what goods are being exported. However, the unprecedented boom in trade with Central Asia raises important questions, Brooks said, calling for a comprehensive and clearer investigation of the issue. The volatile behavior of these countries can be explained by several reasons. For instance, these countries meet most of their energy needs from Russia. A halt in energy imports could have an impact on energy security in these countries. On the other hand, they may feel that long-standing trade ties should not be severed just because of the Ukraine issue. Even if Russia is verbally condemned and Ukraine is supported, it may be assumed that severing close trade ties could have devastating effects. Another reason is the desire to capitalize on the market vacuum created by the many companies that have cut ties with Russia. In this way, preparations are already being made for the post-war period, and a way to have a say in this market is being sought. Nevertheless, questions remain about the sincerity of these countries on Ukraine. No one knows how effective and how deep the sanctions are.
I think Putin is probably putting pressure on it because he can do it. And he knows that if he splits the European Union. But what he really wants is respect. He wants, on eye level, he wants respect. And my God, giving someone respect is low cost, even no cost. So if I was asked, it is easy to even give him the respect he really demands and probably also deserves. Okay, the Crimea Peninsula is gone. It'll never come back. This is it. This is a fact.